It's 2 a.m. You're almost asleep, and suddenly your brain hands you something you said 9 years ago, in full color, with sound. The flinch. The heat in your face. Here's what almost no one tells you: that cringe attack is not your mind being cruel. It's your brain doing its job badly. It's hunting for a signal, an all clear, that the old moment is over and you're safe. And because it never got that signal, it keeps reopening the file, asking the same question: are we okay now? By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your brain ambushes you at night, and you'll have a repeatable 3-step protocol to deliberately give it the all clear it's been waiting for. There's also a final step almost nobody does, the one that works on the harshest replays, and I'll save that for near the end. So settle in. Let's make tonight quieter. Before we go deeper, a small thing that genuinely helps this little world grow, if calm, science-grounded company at night is something you want more of, subscribe and stay a while. And I'd love to hear from you. Drop one comment below answering this. What's the time of day your mind gets loudest? For most people, it's right at the edge of sleep, and naming your pattern is the first quiet step toward changing it. Now here's why staying to the very end matters. Anyone can tell you to just breathe. What I'm going to give you instead is the actual mechanism, what your nervous system is doing when it replays an old memory, and 3 precise steps that speak its language. The third step, the one for the replays that really sting, is the most powerful, and it comes near the end. So if your brain has been keeping you up, stay with me. We'll work through this together slowly. Let's start with what's actually happening in your head. During the day, your attention is full: tasks, faces, notifications. At night, all of that drains away, and your brain switches into a quieter mode where it reviews unfinished business. Think of your nervous system as a security guard doing a final round of the building. Most rooms it checks and clears, but some memories were filed with a question still attached. Did that go badly? Am I still in danger of being judged? And never marked as resolved. So the guard keeps coming back to that one door. The replay isn't punishment, it's an open file. Your brain is representing the memory because, biologically, it's still waiting for confirmation that the threat, social rejection, embarrassment, has passed. Understanding this changes everything, because it means you're not broken and you're not stuck. You just have a loop that was never properly closed. And loops can be closed deliberately. Let me show you how the loop forms first. Here's the piece most people miss. Your brain treats social embarrassment a lot like physical danger. To our ancestors, being judged or cast out by the group was genuinely life-threatening, so the same alarm system that watches for predators also watches for humiliation. When that system flags a moment, it wants closure, a clear internal verdict of handled, safe, over. Psychologists call this the need for cognitive closure. The mind dislikes open, unresolved questions and will keep them active until they're answered. Your cringe memory is an unanswered question the alarm system won't drop. And notice what it never received: an all clear. Nobody ever told that alarm, "This is reviewed, you survived, you can rest." So it loops, the way a smoke detector chirps until you finally deal with it. The whole protocol I'm about to teach you is really one thing: manually delivering that all clear in a way your nervous system actually understands. And it understands specific things. Words are first, and they are more powerful than they sound. Why does this ambush you at night and almost never mid-conversation at lunch? Because of where your attention goes when there's nothing left to hold it. During the day, outward focus keeps the reviewing system quiet. The moment you lie down in the dark, no screen, no task, no one to talk to, your brain shifts into its inward, self-referential mode, the one that wanders across your past and your social standing. That's exactly the network that loves to audit old interactions. So it's not that your problems are worse at night. It's that the volume on everything else finally drops, and the quiet ones become audible. This is also why just distract yourself fails long term. You're not closing the loop. You're only turning the outside noise back up until exhaustion takes over. Tomorrow night it's still open. We want to actually close it, so instead of fighting the quiet, we're going to use it. Step 1 starts the moment the memory shows up. Here it is. One more idea before the steps because it explains why they work. There's a well-known effect in psychology. Unfinished tasks stay active in memory far more stubbornly than finished ones. A waiter remembers your order perfectly until you pay, and then it's gone. Your cringe memory is the unpaid bill. Your brain holds it in an open state precisely because it has no signal that it's complete. So the goal isn't to erase the memory or argue it away. You can't delete a file by force, and trying usually makes it louder. The goal is gentler and smarter, to stamp the file reviewed and closed so your brain stops representing it. That stamp has 3 parts, and each one speaks to a different system: your language brain, your body, and your attention. Done together, they tell the alarm what it's been waiting all night to hear. Let's start with the first part, giving the memory words. This is where most people's instinct is exactly backwards. Step 1. Name the memory out loud in one neutral sentence. Not in your head, out loud, even in a whisper. And keep it plain and factual, like a librarian logging a book. So instead of the spiraling version, "I can't believe I said that, everyone must think I'm an idiot," you say something like, "I'm remembering the time I called my teacher the wrong name in front of the class." That's it. One sentence. No verdict, no adjectives, no "and that's why I'm terrible." Just the event, named and set down. It feels almost too simple, and that's exactly why people skip it and stay stuck in the spiral instead. The spiral keeps the file open by adding new emotional charge every loop. The neutral sentence does the opposite. It converts a swirling feeling into a finished, observed fact. You've taken the memory out of the alarm system and handed it to the part of you that simply notices. And there's a real reason saying it out loud works on your brain chemistry. Let me explain. Here's why naming works, and it's beautifully physical. When a memory hits you as raw emotion, the alarm centers of your brain are running hot. But the moment you put that feeling into specific, calm words, you recruit the thinking, language part of your brain, and engaging it tends to turn the volume down on the emotional alarm. Researchers sometimes call this effect labeling. Name the feeling, and the feeling loosens its grip. It's the difference between a vague, formless dread and a clearly labeled box on a shelf. The vague version can be anything, so your brain treats it as ongoing danger. The labeled version is bounded, known, and over. This is also why a neutral sentence beats an emotional one. I felt embarrassed when I tripped settles the system, while I'm such a clumsy fool just feeds the fire with fresh judgment. So you name it plainly, you feel the charge soften slightly, and now the file is open on the table, calm enough to close. Next, we close it with your body. Step 2. Physically mark the memory as reviewed. Words tell your thinking brain it's handled, but your body needs its own signal because your nervous system trusts physical cues more than thoughts. So you do two things together. First, a slow exhale. Breathe in gently for about 4 counts, then let the breath out slowly for about 6 to 8, longer out than in. Second, as you exhale, rest one hand flat on the center of your chest, with a little gentle weight. That's the whole move. Let me do it with you now. Breathe in and the long exhale, hands settling on your chest. This pairing is your stamp, the deliberate, physical gesture that says reviewed, closed. The order matters. You name first, then you breathe and touch, so the body cue lands on a memory you've already set down in plain words. Skip the words and you're just calming the still open file. It reopens. Do them together and you've given a complete signal. And the reason this exact combination works is genuinely lovely. Why the long exhale and the hand? Both speak directly to your vagus nerve, the main cable of your body's rest and recover system. When your exhale is longer than your inhale, it gently nudges that system into action, slowing your heart a little and signaling safety from the body upward. This is real physiology, not a vibe. The out-breath is the calming half of every breath. Now add the hand on your chest. Warm, gentle, self-directed touch is something mammals use to soothe. It's part of how a calm presence settles a frightened body. Placing your own hand there offers that same reassurance from the inside. You become the calm presence. Together, the long exhale and the steady hand tell your nervous system, in its native language, the danger has passed, you can stand down. That is the all clear your brain has been hunting for since the memory first showed up. One step remains. Where your attention goes next decides whether the loop stays closed. And it's the part people fumble most. Step 3. Redirect your attention to one concrete sensory anchor. Here's the trap. The instant you close the file, your mind wants to wander right back and check it again or hunt for the next old memory, so you give it somewhere specific to rest. Not clear your mind. That's impossible, and chasing it just reopens the loop. Instead, choose one small, real, present sensation and stay with it. The weight of your blanket on your legs, the exact temperature of the air on your cheek, the faint sound of your own breathing. Pick one and describe it to yourself in quiet detail, the way you'd notice the texture of a stone in your hand. The anchor works because attention is largely single channel. When it's genuinely occupied by a present sensation, there's no free bandwidth left to reopen a memory from the past. You've closed the file, and now you're holding the door shut, gently, with your senses. That's the full 3 steps. But for the replays that really hurt, there's one more layer. This is the step I promised, the one almost nobody does, and the one that works on the replays that really sting. For those memories, naming and breathing aren't quite enough, because underneath them is a harsh voice. How could you? What's wrong with you? So you add a self-compassion line, said the way you'd speak to a dear friend in the same moment. Try this exact script. That was a hard, human moment. Anyone could have done that. I'm allowed to have been imperfect, and I'm safe now. Say it slowly, out loud if you can. This matters because shame keeps the threat loop wide open. To the alarm system, a part of you is still under attack from you. Self-compassion removes the attacker. Studies on self-kindness consistently link it to a calmer stress response and gentler recovery from painful memories. You're not excusing anything. You're telling your nervous system the harshest critic in the room has finally stood down. That's often the missing all clear. Now let me give you the short version for tired nights. Some nights you don't have the energy for the full protocol, you just want to sleep. So here's the 60-second wind-down version, stripped to its essentials. When the memory comes, do this. 10 seconds. Name it in one plain sentence, out loud or whispered. I'm remembering that awkward thing. 20 seconds. 2 slow rounds of breath, hand on your chest, exhaling longer than you inhale. Let's take one together now. In and a long, slow exhale. Then 30 seconds. Rest your attention fully on one sensation, the warmth under your blanket, the rhythm of your breathing, and stay there until it carries you down. Name, mark, anchor. That's it. The short version still hits all three systems: language, body, attention, just faster. So even on an exhausted night, you're closing the loop instead of feeding it. Keep it by your bed in your mind like a glass of water, simple, there when you need it. One last thing before we close, the mistake that quietly undoes all of this. Here's the mistake that undoes everything: trying to force the memory out, to push it away or never think of it again. There's a well-known quirk of the mind. Tell yourself don't think about it, and your brain has to hold the very thing it's suppressing just to check you're avoiding it. Suppression keeps the file open and often makes it louder, especially at night. So the protocol never fights the memory. It welcomes it, names it, soothes the body, and redirects gently, closing the loop instead of slamming the door. The second mistake is impatience, expecting one round to delete a memory forever. It won't. What it does is lower the charge a little each time, so the brain represents it less often and less intensely. Some nights you'll run the full version, some nights just the 60-second one, some nights it returns and you calmly close it again. That's not failure, that's the practice working. Each closure teaches your nervous system the moment is genuinely over. Let's bring it all together. So here's everything, gently. Your 2 a.m. cringe is not cruelty, it's your brain reopening an old file, still hunting for an all clear it never got. You give it that all clear in 3 steps. 1. Name the memory out loud in a single neutral sentence, handing it to your calm, observing mind. 2. Mark it reviewed with a slow exhale, longer out than in, and a warm hand on your chest, the body's signal that the danger has passed. 3. Redirect to one concrete sensation and rest there, holding the door gently closed. For the replays that sting most, add the self-compassion line. That's the one almost no one does. And on tired nights, the 60-second version. Name, mark, anchor. None of this is a cure or a treatment. It's a kind, repeatable way to speak your nervous system's language. If tonight felt a little quieter, subscribe so we can keep these small practices going together. Sleep well. Your brain was only ever trying to keep you safe.
Follow for your daily well-being.